Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for checking us out. If you wouldn't mind hitting like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you are there. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. So tonight I've been wanting to interview my guest for a minute now, and for whatever reason, something seems to always happen. But we're going to push forward. I want to get this out because this particular couple, who are dear friends of mine and my husband's, have gone through a journey that I'm sure some of you have gone through. Maybe some of you guys or some family members will go through in the future. But this couple, Randy and Julie McKissick, brought awareness to social media with some health scares that Julie was going through, and some cancer scares to be exact. I wanted to bring them on because for me, have always been that person that is curious about what the human mind is thinking. And even in terms of your spouse, what are you really thinking when you are facing a diagnosis such as cancer? And together, what do you guys discuss? And how does it make you look at life differently? And so I want to bring them in. Hi, Christy Beth. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I see that there are quite a few in here. Say hello. I thank you guys for being here. And please share this on your platform. We are doing this to bring awareness. And the other is, we are not doctors. We are not psychologists, psychiatrists. We are regular human beings that are sharing our stories, our testimonies, our experience, our journey, and hoping to bring awareness to others so that they will know that they are not alone. So Julie, let's just go ahead and dive in. Julie, before you went to the doctor, had you been in any pain? What made you decide? And again, we're bringing awareness to this so people will listen to their bodies and listen to your gut, or listen to the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. Were you not feeling well? Why did you decide to go to the doctor?
Well, first of all, hi everyone. Last time I talked to some of these people, I was crying, especially Angie. I want to say thank you if Angie's still on here.
Yes.
She helped me a lot. But I just I I guess I'm a little bit overweight, I guess. And I'm 62, so I just thought that I was um having leakage, the pee. But um my stomach just wasn't going down like I thought it was before this tumor. And I would have Randy feeling my stomach and stuff to ask him if he felt anything. And so went to my PCP, my doctor, and he just said that I probably had
Blockage.
like a blockage, take some Malox or whatever. And there in his office, I'm like, I just don't feel like that's what it is. And he said, well, we could do a test, but that's going to be $200 out of your pocket or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about the money part. I just don't feel like it's Malox. Well, Randy even was saying, well, that's probably just what it is. Just, take some Malox. And I'm like, no, I want to go get a test. So um, before that, I had a gynecologist appointment, and they were wanting to do an ultrasound, but I was in the middle of switching my insurance, so I didn't get the ultrasound done. But during this time, I did get some insurance. So I went and had the ultrasound done, and then I had the MRI on the stomach. So it came together pretty closely. So the ultrasound revealed a tumor, and then the MRI revealed a tumor. So that's when it started. So from there, it just went downhill.
And so did you request MRI, and did you request scans and all?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
because when I went to my gynecologist, because intercourse was painful at times. So when I went to the gynecologist, they were just saying that as you get older, your vagina gets dry, and they gave me some estrogen cream to use. So they didn't want to do any ultrasound test or anything. They just thought that's what it was. And so I thought that's what it was too. But when I went to the PCP, I just put two and two together, and it didn't seem like it was that. So
And so
yes,
you had
I
mentioned we
was the one that,
requested that.
yeah.
So we were talking earlier prior to going live, and you had mentioned that for people that don't know you, and as this streams like through Roku and Apple TV, for people that don't know you, you were you had a serious fall not too long ago, and you kind of explained what happened during your fall. How did you fall?
Well, I'm a general contractor, and we were doing shutters, and it was my husband and my son, and they were on one side of the house, and I was on the other side, and I was staying in a post, and I overreached, and I fell. And then when I fell, I face planted on the concrete patio, and broke my nose in 3 places. So, and just a bunch of bruises and stuff like that. But during that, it's a long story on that part, but they did find a small tumor, but I didn't know about it until I got my paperwork from the doctor this time, if that makes
Okay.
sense. A year and a half ago, the emergency room just said, hey, you got a broken nose in 3 different places. Go follow up with your PCP. They didn't tell me anything about the tumor or anything like that.
They
So
said no internal damage, nothing inside was going on. Some cuts and bruises and things like that. Now, keep in mind, this fall wasn't just from the ground; it was from the top of an 8-foot ladder. So,
yeah. So
So
the emergency room, they're worried about is that they get you out of the emergency situation.
they treat your symptoms at that time.
So they did. So I didn't get any paperwork or anything like that. Might have got some discharge papers or whatever, but it's to follow up with my doctor. Well, when I went to go 2 days later, 3 days later to follow up with him on the broken nose, he's like, yeah, you can go see an ENT, but yeah, it's broken, but there's not really nothing you can do with
Yeah.
it. You could follow up with the ENT. Well, he didn't get the papers from the emergency room. He didn't request it. So he didn't see I had a tumor, because at that time, the tumor was only 3 centimeters. A year and a half later, it grew to 23 centimeters.
Which-
It was bigger than a football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was about the size of a football, about that big.
oh my
Once
goodness.
everything was done.
So when
So-
you were, so even though the ER was treating just the injuries from the accident that day,
Uh-huh.
in their paperwork, as I'm trying to understand, in their paperwork somewhere though, there is noted that there was a tumor.
Yes, because they did an MRI, a CAT scan, my whole body to
Full
see if I
body.
had internal bleeding or fractured, like that.
Wow. And they didn't let you
Yeah.
know. And then your doctor that you went to had not requested or had not seen your paperwork from the ER until
Correct.
later.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go and you request the MRI, and then they find that, in fact,
Yeah, I
there
found that I
is-
had a tumor. Yeah, I found out that I had a tumor a year and a half ago by me looking at my paperwork.
Wow.
Nobody told me.
Wow. So
Yeah.
nobody told you.
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So a year and a half ago, you find out, and then you go to the doctor because your stomach and you're having some female issues, things like that, and you request the MRI, and then they find the tumor. And what were the results of that? So they find out that you do have a tumor the size of a football. Then what?
Well, then I had to go see an oncologist, and that right there, when you hear that, you know, cancer. And then you go to Dallas and you see on the big building cancer center. Well, And then you're walking in and you see all the cancer patients, and it's just like it's a totally different world. Going to Dallas and going to the cancer center, and you're you're looking up Google, you're looking up everything, and you're calling friends, and Rhonda and Tom are nurses, and trying to ask them questions and all that kind of stuff. But we get in there and we see my doctor, Dr. Kuhn, which the first visit was it was good. He was saying that it's probably going to be what's it called it benign, but it's called like it's not cancer, but it is cancer, but it's just in that
It's borderline.
borderline cancer. But
We're going to treat it as if it were cancer. We're going to remove the mass best we can. Hopefully everything is intact so that it hasn't spread to the rest of the body, and kind of go from there. But he asked us, or he told us, he said, not many people will tackle this kind of surgery because it is very complicated. I would recommend it. If it were my own sister, I would do the surgery.
well, but at that first visit, before I had any other kind of test, he was making us believe that we were going to be okay. Well, then I went and had blood tests done, and there's like markers for cancer, and my markers were really, really high, like off the chart, which to him was I must have cancer that has spread throughout my body. So he was thinking when he got those cancer markers back that I probably have colon cancer that has spread to my ovaries. So he scared me into that. So we had to go get we had PET scans, we had MRIs, we had ultrasound.
Plus, we had to go see the liver specialist because the tumor was so large, it was pressing on her portal vein going into the liver, which was cutting off blood flow to the liver, which in turn was destroying the liver. So, I mean, all these processes that we had to go through before we could even schedule anything. I mean, it's
And
terrifying.
that was like a couple months before, and all you want to do is get the tumor out. But every time I went to go do something, they found something. So I had to go do the colonoscopy, which that turned out great. And then in one of the tests, they found nodules in my thyroid. So they thought I had cancer in my thyroid. So I had to go get a biopsy for that. And then, so December 1st, I have to go see the liver doctor because what we're thinking was the pressure with the tumor. We really don't know for sure yet, but it just makes sense that it was probably the pressure because it was pressing on every organ that I had in my stomach. So when I had the surgery, they did a debulk and they took out everything. So I'm hoping that my liver is okay, but we won't know that until we go back on the 1st of December.
That is a lot to go through, and I'm sure a lot of waiting time as you're waiting because now you have to go and have this test ran, and then they think, okay, well, you might have thyroid cancer, and you're having all these tests ran. So in the midst of it, Julie, you first of all, very inspirational, very inspiring. I thank you for sharing it on Facebook because it does raise awareness. The body is a very
complex.
Yes, that's the word. That is the word. Because just today, I spoke with a lady who they found a spot behind one of her eyes years ago. And then she came in today to where I work, and they told her, well, because you have such a deep, there was a tumor or a mass behind her eye, you need to go and have a mammogram because those two things, the mass behind your eye and the way your brain works, you need to go have a mammogram because that can produce cancer, breast cancer. And she was like, what? How is that possible? But yes, and your teeth. if you have, if there's heart disease in your family and you have bad teeth, my dad had to have, as soon as he had a toothache and then they found out that he had heart disease, he had to have all of his teeth extracted, because that affects your heart. And so all these things, it is very complex. And so during all of this, Julie, you both were so transparent and gracious to share this with us. But deep inside the emotion, Randy, you, and like I said before, men are their wives or their partners or significant others rock at times, and vice versa. The woman is also their husband's or significant others rock, right? But
Right.
during that time, as you're being strong for Julie, what are you thinking? Do you guys talk to each other about the what ifs? And do
Yeah.
you have a will in place? Do you need to get a will in place? What are we going to do if it is terminal? Are you scared? Are you, what are you feeling, Randy? What are you feeling as you're going through all of this with Julie?
I was terrified, but like you say, I had to put on a brave face, for her, because I know she was falling apart because of it, because cancer ran in her family.
Mm.
Her mom died of it, her brother died of it, and it was just a no-brainer for us. We had to look at it as if, okay, this is it. We need to put a plan in place. Now, whether or not we ever came up with anything is a different story.
No, because we are well, Randy's retired and I'm self-employed. So when you don't
When you don't plan for
yeah,
things like this,
yeah, because
it can take a toll.
yeah, it's really, I mean, we didn't plan for it. I guess life snuck up on us really quick because um I couldn't work. I'm the only one that brings in income besides the retirement and the shutters and stuff. But the main resource is me. Now I could get my guys, but I couldn't go out there and sell, and I couldn't do tile restaining or anything that I do personally myself to bring in money.
Physically.
So it took a toll on us really hard on that, and there was things that was done to help us. We rent. We don't own our home, so our landlord put our rent off until next year, January. So that helped us a lot. Prayers helped us a lot. I got a pretty good job, a remodeling job that came in that helped with the basically 3 months. This is my 8th week as a Monday. So I'm just now starting to get back to the workforce and stuff. I got my insurance license, and this is my first week in insurance. I'm not liking it. But
Anyway, it's one of those things that you can talk about it, from day one, but the things that you don't expect and you don't know about,
it hit fast.
hit you, and you're at a loss. And the only thing you can do is just try to keep moving forward and, take one day at a time.
Yeah, because I was like, how are we going to pay our bills? And if I have cancer, am I going to have a place to, come home to, basically, recover or pass away? I didn't know how we were going to do any of that.
I appreciate you guys saying that, because so my oldest brother, he has cancer and he's going through chemo and radiation and has for 8 months now and is still battling. And it's unfortunate, this could be a whole other podcast, it's unfortunate that it is not cheap to have cancer.
No,
And
no,
if
it
you're
is
not
not.
prepared, not only does it take an emotional, physical, spiritual role turmoil doesn't, it takes a toll on that, but it is also a financial toll. And insurance these days, oh my word, you can't even afford to be sick. You can't afford,
Well,
let alone have cancer.
just the doctor visits alone. I mean, we had to pay. I'm not going to divulge any numbers, but we had to pay our out of pocket, right up front, and that pretty much just drained us right
My
there.
mom told me it was $9,000 that you had to pay right up front, and then they ask for more, and they keep asking. And one bill is like, which the insurance will take a good part of it, but it was $72,000,
Yeah,
and
that
it's
was
and
just for
I mean I owe them my life. I mean they saved me, so I really can't gripe about how much it is, but it's a lot, and you see these bills coming in, and you get these phone calls, and it's just like, you're thinking about next year because telling what my insurance is going to do to me next year, if I can even afford it because of everything that happened this year. So
That
it is, but
sucks. I hate it.
as far as being scared, oh yeah, I was very depressed, very scared. I wrote letters to everybody that I loved, and gave that to them, and basically that was my goodbye letter. I have a 2-month-old grandbaby, and
Yeah,
y'all know
this
how I love,
happened in the midst of everything.
yeah, and y'all know how I love Presley, and I was thinking about that, and I'll never see Tristan. Don't know what's going to happen with Randy, where he's going to go, what he's going to do, um, how he's going to make it, and that's just dumb on our part. That is
Yeah.
not what happened. It's just us not being smart.
And that's part of our testimony is if you think you may wind up going through something like this, put a plan in place and stick to it and save as much money as you possibly can, because it I tell you, it completely drains you and your resources. And
And so,
but
go ahead, Randy.
well, I was going to say, but the one of the things I wanted to touch on, we were talking about prior, was going through all the steps of seeing these different doctors. I mean, it's not like it was back in the olden days when you go to see your doctor and he recommends that you go see a specialist. He can get you right in the next day or same day or next day, or maybe a week later. This was weeks that we had to wait to go see these people that we were recommended to go see. And the just the time in between all this, we were so up in the air about everything. I mean, we didn't know what to expect, and that right there.
The fear for me was a tumor was growing and growing, and it
Yeah.
was going to burst. And if it burst, I probably would have died.
And I'll be honest with you. One of my biggest fears was, you see people choke all the time, and you see people give them the Heimlich maneuver. That was one of my biggest fears, was that she was going to choke on something. I was going to have to Heimlich her, and I couldn't have done it because for fear of rupturing that tumor, because it's right there where you need to, to put your fist. And
Wow, the things that your mind that you think of,
I was
right?
always on edge, and I was always just worrying about everything.
Yeah, and if the tumor was pressing on my veins, if I was going to have a aneurysm or something, that's the kind of stuff that you think about. It's like you want to get it out, but you can't get in there because you have to see all these specialists, and you have to have all this stuff done. And the only thing that I'm thinking about is just get it out. But then the day of surgery in the waiting room, the surgeon comes in there and he's like, nobody else would touch you. And I mean, what do you mean nobody else would touch me? He said, nobody else would touch you. And I'm like, so do I not need to do it? And he said, if you don't do it, you're going to die.
Yeah, point
And
blank.
so that was going into surgery.
That was the day we checked into the hospital, the day before surgery. We met him in the lobby, and he told us all this. And
Yeah. So
so we're like, well, okay, what do we do now?
Right. So let me ask you this. I wondered, and I was chatting with Randy a little bit about this, and then I want to ask you something else. Uh, where were you in your faith? So where were you in your faith? And the reason I ask this, let me preface this with, I actually interviewed a couple who the spouse, he had been an alcoholic for 7 years, and then they were married and everything, and then he was sober. He became clean and sober, and he was sober for a good 2 years, and he started exercising, and then next thing you know, he's diagnosed with cancer, and it's terminal cancer. And I interviewed them, and he was okay with the path that God put him on, a little scared about how the end was going to be, what it was going to feel like, those kind of things. She was PO'd at God. She was mad, and she was mad because she said, "Here I am. I married late in life to this man who's the love of my life. He is an alcoholic, and now here we are. We have a couple of years where he's sober. We're empty nesters now. We're getting ready to travel." And she is pissed. She's like, "This is not fair." And he is like, it's going to be okay. She's like, "No, it's not." And so I know her, and he passed. I had the honor of getting to see him again after my radio show. I got to go to the house when he was nearing the end of his journey here. And even though you know that when you see someone who's near the end, who has suffered through cancer, many trips to the ER because of falls or just different things, bleeding and just different things. And when I saw him, I knew that he was getting ready to be in his final destination, and it was probably for the better, because boy, he didn't look well. And but their faith, his faith and her faith, because we're human and it's okay for us to be angry. God felt all of the emotions that we have. He gave them to us. And she was angry, but she knows that the Lord forgave her. He forgives her. And she knew when her husband took his last breath that he was with the Lord. But she also expressed, and I was telling Randy this, that, I've been to quite a few funerals, celebrations of life most recently. And boy, does it make you rethink the way that you're living. And for me, it made me rethink that I need to live in the present. I need to be grateful for every morning that I wake up, that my eyes open, and that I'm healthy. And thank God for the day. Thank you for another day, Lord. And it makes you rethink the way that you or me was taking life for granted. And I thank God for revealing that to me. Where were you guys in your faith as you're going through this? And has it changed your outlook on life? That question is for both of you.
Well, with me, I believe in God and I love God. And I know, and this is before the tumor. But I guess my faith grew 100% more because when I told you earlier that I had the remodeling job that we got when in the middle of all this, we were at that house and there was another contractor there with his guys, and then me and Randy and my workers and the owner and all that. And it's an empty house, and every room is like Sesame Street. It was all a different color. It was pink and purple and green, and it was just horrible. And we're in the middle of fixing all that now. But anyway, the house is empty, but on the windowsill, there was this, I don't know if y'all seen them. They're little Jesuses, they're little plastic Jesus rubber.
Yes.
Well, I saw it on the windowsill and I grabbed it and I took it, and that was mine. And it sits beside me in my chair in the living room. The nurse taped it on my hospital gown when I was having the colonoscopy, because that was a big surgery. Not that it was big painful or anything, but that surgery set the motion for everything else.
Right.
And when it came back benign, then my whole, it started changing on me, like me seeing things differently. But I've held on to that Jesus, not that because I believe in that little plastic thing. It's just because it represents the faith that I have in God. We've been going to church now every Sunday. We didn't used to, like maybe Easter, Christmas, every once in a while. But now we try to go every Sunday. So the faith has grew in me 100%.
Now I was a little different. I was born and raised Catholic, so I was not very involved with the church. But as a kid growing up, it was always, you went to church, no question. And when I got out on my own and we got together, I guess you could say I got away from the church for a long time. Never lost my faith in God. No, I've always believed in God, but we just weren't church going people. And once all this started happening with her, we like you said, we made it very public on Facebook just to raise awareness. It started. We started asking for prayer because that was to us that was the most important thing that we could have asked for. And I started getting a hold of, how on Facebook you'll or TikTok or whatever you'll run across a prayer every now and then. I would run across them constantly, and I was reading every single one of them, soaking them in, just taking them all in, and like she said, we did find a church, and now we are faithful to that church, and it has just, I don't want to say restored my faith because I've never lost it, but it has built it to the point of where, God's the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning, and then the last thing I think about when I go to bed, and all throughout the day. He has a path for us. Now, had he taken her from me during all this, yes, I would have been extremely mad, but I never would have lost my faith. I know that for a fact. It's just the way I'm built, and my faith has just grown tremendously throughout this whole process, and rightfully so, because now I'm gonna say 95% in the clear. We'll know December 1st after.
Yeah, those cancer markers, the doctor's like, he doesn't understand why the cancer markers are so high. So when I go back on the 20th of this month, then he's going to recheck them, and hopefully those are down, because I asked him, I'm like, how about if they're up? And then he's like, well, we got to do more research. And I'm just like,
but he does feel that it's, everything's good. We're on a good path. She's doing very well. But again, that's just a testimony to faith in God. And because I know from the word go that he's had this. Everybody tells us, well, God's got this. You hear that a lot, and you don't really take it to heart until something like this happens. And that's really, I don't want to say that's all you have, but that's all I leaned on. I mean, that's 100% what I leaned on. I mean, I would talk to God, just out of the blue, and, just ask him, say, protect her, protect us. And my faith has just grown tremendously.
I would go into my bedroom and just bawl, and just ask why, why I'm looking at Google. Like, what do I have, and I would the tears would I couldn't even talk to people. I try to do those videos, and, I made it through some of them, and some of them I just had to leave because it's just too much. When you hear the word cancer in your whole, you think you have 20 or 30 more years, and you're going to see your child grow up to have a family and see his girls and stuff like that, and live my golden years with my husband, and then you think all that's going to be taken away and there's nothing you can do. I don't care. I mean, you start trying to eat right, you take away your
Mm,
sugars because that feeds the cancer. You try to do all that, but it's just like in the back of your mind is like, is it going to be worth it? Am I going to be able to beat this? I saw my brother and my mom struggle with cancer, and it's horrible.
mhm.
Um, so um, I didn't want to have to go through that. I didn't want my family to have to go through that. And just the not knowing of what's going to happen, the
You
unanswered
you you
questions.
just you really just have to put all your faith and all your trust in God.
Mhm.
The surgeon called us about a few days before the surgery and told us, where to go, what to expect. Just went down the whole list of things, and I told him, I said, well, we're putting 100% of our faith in you,
And he said,
and he said, don't put your faith in me, put your faith in God. And I
Mm.
I said, well, I stand corrected. I do put 100% of my faith in God. I'm trusting you to do this right and to get rid of it. But yes, my faith is at 100% in God.
yeah.
Wow, that
So,
is so beautiful. Because the fact, Randy, that both of you, but Randy, you saying what you said is that the Lord is the first thing that you think about when you open your eyes, when you wake up in the morning. You think about Him throughout the day, and then the last thing that you think about at night is so
right,
beautiful. And I, it just warms my heart when I hear that. It's just amazing, and I know what you mean because I talk to God all day long, and I don't hear him audibly, but I hear him. And there's sometimes like, okay, yeah, okay, I know. I'm sure people
right,
probably think, who are you talking to? But I can hear and I can make decisions based on the guidance that he provides.
right,
And I have that choice. I can listen to him or I can go my way. And it's disastrous, obviously, when I go my way. But he's such a gracious God that he's forgiving and he says, okay, so now let's go this way. But does it make you, Julie, Randy, does it make you live differently in terms of, like, for me, I've learned after just going to a funeral yesterday of a young man who died of brain cancer. He was 30 years old and he died of brain cancer. He was a nurse and had been a nurse for about 3 months. And he loved the Lord. He was presented a book from a couple that he was the RN to while they were in their hospital stay. And the book, the pastor wrote what the couple read or wrote in it. He read what they wrote in it, and he said some of the verbiage was maybe not verbatim, but you have a gift. You brought light into our room where there was darkness, and we know that you are going to impact and change the lives of every patient that you have. And they gave him a book. He had shared that his favorite book in the Bible was the book of Jeremiah. They gave him this book, and not knowing that just a couple of months later he would have a seizure at work, and they find out that he has brain cancer, and he fought it for
oh,
2.5 years, and he passed. He was 30 years old, and his
wow,
celebration of life was yesterday. The legacy this young man leaves behind, his friends spoke for him and were sharing how he was a funny young man. People were drawn to him, and they know it was because of the love for the Lord that he had. And they were sharing, and as I was listening, the things about celebrations of life and funerals and hearing about miracles like this is it makes me rethink, am I taking my life for granted? Am I living my life to the fullest? Am I making good choices today? Lord, please make me say the right things in the right tone, think the right things. He says that his thoughts are not our thoughts, right? And I just pray every day, please let me say the right thing to people. With all of that said, do you rethink how you live today or what you think about life? Do you think that you took life for granted in the past? Do you wake up? How do you feel now about life?
I know for a fact that I've taken life for granted in the past. But like you and I discussed before the show, I have learned throughout this process, God has a plan for each and every one of us. We can plan all we want. We can, set goals for ourselves. If that's not in God's plan, then it's not going to happen. He has a plan for each and every one of us. Our job is to ask him to help us deal with his plan in the right way. That's what I take away from what we've been through.
Mhm.
Um,
Just
I,
life
I
is
wouldn't have
short.
planned on any of this for her, obviously, but since it is in God's plan, help me deal with it. You know, give me guidance to point me in the right direction on what to do, how to handle things. And he did that. He did that 100%.
Yeah,
And so
I owe
you
everything
shared,
to God.
yes, and so you both shared that your faith has grown, your relationship with the Lord has grown. What about your relationship with each other? Has that changed?
Yeah, it's
Nah.
and whatever happens, happens. No, no. Uh, we have learned
We've
through
always
this
been really
process,
close, though. I
yeah,
mean,
that
Yes.
we're
um,
responsible for each other. I mean, that bottom line. Uh,
we're both babies for our family, and I don't know if y'all believe in that, but I feel like if you're the baby in the family, you always look up, and it's something that me and Randy struggle with because when we have a problem, it's just like I used to like call my mom or my dad or sister or brother, and same with him. But when they are gone, then you got two babies trying to figure stuff out when you always went to your siblings or somebody older to tell you how to do it.
Mm.
Now it's us in our 60s trying to figure out life, and it's
one of
hard. When you're a young couple, you shouldn't marry. If you're a baby, don't marry a baby of the family because it's hard.
my dad's been gone for, well, this January will be 20 years, and I have adopted a saying. Everybody says, "What would Jesus do?" Well, I say WWDD.
Mm.
What would Dad do? You know,
Right.
Yeah.
and I talk to him every day as well, and ask him, am I doing this right? Am I doing the right thing? Or I ask him for guidance as well. And
You just know that life is short, and I see it now as I just wish that my son and my grandbabies makes right choices in their life and stuff and be healthy and stuff like that. I look at my son Tristan and I'm just like, uh, please be healthy and live a long life and
you're so
be
young.
happy and you know be strong and just stuff like that. And it's just like the not knowing is what's, I mean, like you said, I mean, that nurse that was 30 years old, and just like my brother, he was strong and healthy, and he died of brain cancer too at 46. And
Wow.
all his life, he was healthy.
Yeah, he was,
Mhm.
So it's
he
just
was a
like
big,
you need to
strong
take
guy.
care of your body. But
Listen to it.
yeah, that was the whole awareness thing. Because if I just took some Malox and just let it go, maybe this tumor would have grew another 4 or 5 centimeters and it would have busted and I would have died. So you can't listen to the doctors all the time. I
Yeah, and
mean,
if you don't like what they have to say, get a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're not all going to be 100% correct 100% of the time. So
yeah.
if you feel like something's wrong or you're being misdiagnosed, go get a second opinion.
And when you're in
Don't
the
settle.
ER, make sure you get all your records. How did I know that I had a tumor? I didn't. But the emergency room, that's not their job, is to tell you what all you have wrong with you.
Right.
Mhm.
But I blame a lot on my PCP. I think he should have looked at my records.
Mhm.
Um,
He should have been more thorough for sure.
looks like somebody should have been responsible to tell me. But
But having learned that, we know now that, like I said, not everybody's perfect and they're going to make mistakes. So you have to self advocate. I mean, if you feel like something's wrong, by all means, dive into it and explore it and find out what your symptoms are, how to treat them, what the diagnose, all that stuff. Just do your own research. And Mark and Debbie say that all the time. Two old people on the couch. Do your own research, and it's true. It's very true. One thing I do want to say is mainly just thank you to everybody that prayed during this whole process. Prayed for us, prayed for Julie. I want to thank Tom and Rhonda for being there, and especially my son, Tristan, for being there with me during the surgery. I'd have been lost without the three of them. I could not have handled that by myself, but they were there with me by my side 100% of the way. And just want to say thank you to all of them for that. But thank everybody who prayed. Prayer does work. It can perform miracles. And in this
Yes, for
case, it
sure.
did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, I covet people's prayers. I need them. I need them. And, I always say, if you say that you're going to pray for me, please really pray for me for real, because I
Exactly.
need those prayers when we're going
Yes.
through something like this. Boy, they say where two or more are gathered, the Lord is with them there, and that is the truth. I bet the little baby Jesus, little rubber baby Jesus. Actually, I hold one. I have one in my car, and I had to have this meeting. It was a tough meeting, and I just held on to him. Nobody knew that I had it in my hand, but I had him in my
Yeah.
hand. And like you said, it's not like we're not putting our faith in this little baby rubber baby Jesus, but just knowing that I kind of have a little piece of him with me. I know he's with me, but I just needed something to hold on to. And
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It does help
it does. It
tremendously.
does.
Well,
All
I'll
right.
tell you something about that. She found that, like she said, in that windowsill of this job that we were at giving a bid to. Well, not only did the cancer scare turn out to be, just that, a scare. She's pretty much through it. But secondly, we got the job. So I think it was twofold.
That's
He was looking out for us.
amazing.
God is great.
Yes, he
Yeah,
is. He is. Okay.
sure.
So let me ask you guys this. I know I asked this at the end of everything, but now, okay, and Angie at Archive in the Woods says that we can all see that you guys are closer for sure. I mean, you guys are such a beautiful couple, and always have been so close, so
Thank you.
sweet. But you can definitely see there's a little bit more closeness to your relationship, and it is so precious. You guys, see, y'all are just so cute. Um, so let me guys ask you this, I pray for everyone here that is going through something similar. I will go back and read the comments and specifically and pray for you guys by name and individually, your family members. Hello, Virginia Alexander. Thank you for being here. We love you guys. And I've asked this before, but I'm going to ask you this now and separately answer your questions. But after everything that you guys have been through, everything, falling off the ladder, breaking your nose, seeing your wife fall off the ladder, which I'm sure was a huge scare from, what did you say, it was an 8-foot ladder
Yeah.
from the top of the house, and going to the emergency room, and then
And I'm a
having
mess,
this,
aren't I?
then having
Good
this
stuff.
cancer scare. Randy, who would you say after everything, and here we are today, and Julie is, 95, 99% in the clear, and we pray it'll be 100% December 1st. Who would you say that you are today, Randy? Who are you today after everything?
That's tough. I feel like I'm stronger a little bit, but only because now I know kind of what to expect with certain things. It's not always going to be a bed of roses. There are things that's going to come my way that are going to be devastating. But the only thing I have to rely on is my God,
Yes.
and I'm 100% more faithful now to God than I was in the past, and
Mm.
that's my fault. I let that happen, but we're here now, and I just have a much stronger faith,
I love that. I love
and
it. Thank
I
you,
can't
Randy.
can't function without him or her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Julie, how about you? After everything that you've gone through personally, yourself, within yourself, everything that you have gone through from beginning to now, who would you say that you are today? Who are you? Who's Julie today?
I'm a woman that's 23 pounds lighter.
Is that how much the tumor weighed?
The tumor weighed about 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was
Yeah.
it? What was it? Was it just
it was just a mass. It was a completely benign mass.
It has a name.
As
I don't
long
know.
as I know what it was.
They said it was like two twins. I forgot what I named them, Buford and
Oh yeah, that's
something
right.
else. But I named them, but I forgot what the tumor. I totally forgot about them now. There's like stepchildren.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
exactly, exactly.
No,
Well,
I'm just um I came from a very dark place. 3 months ago, I cried all the time. I was very depressed. Um, no direction, didn't know what I was going to do, lost. I was a lost soul, I guess. But now I have hope. I have my family. Um, I get to see my son and my grandbabies. I'm on cloud nine. I have 100% faith in Jesus. Nothing you can say to me now wouldn't make me think that if you gave me cancer today, please don't. But if you did give me cancer today, I know that I would have God by my side, and that together we were going to come out on the other side. And that's I'm a happy person today.
Right.
wow.
You know,
Well, go ahead, Randy.
we still have the everyday struggles of life. How are we going to pay the electric bill this month, or things like that, things that everybody has. We're no different in that aspect, but we see it a little different now because we're more thankful, much more thankful for what we have and the friends that we have and the God that we serve.
Man, amen. And I have to tell you that, and I'll let you go, but our pastor this weekend, he was saying that in life, everything is a privilege. Everything is a privilege. It's a privilege to open your eyes. It is a privilege to suffer, because on the other side of suffering, you draw closer to God, which is a privilege, an honor. You draw closer to each other. It's a privilege to sit along somebody and hold their hand as they are giving birth or taking their last breath. That's a privilege. It's a privilege. And it's a privilege to have a job. It's a privilege to be able to pay a bill. It is a privilege to step outside and take a deep breath. That's a privilege. And I tell you what, I am privileged to know the two of you, and so honored that I was able to be such a part of such a large group of prayer warriors that prayed for you guys. That's a privilege. It's a privilege to pray. It's an honor to pray to the Lord and to see him work in our lives. And no matter what the answers are, we know that God is good, and we know that he's near. And I see a couple who is so beautifully transparent, who wants to share their story to bring awareness. It's not about us. It's not to boast or brag. It's not to woe is me. It's about bringing awareness to others so that other people will know, I need to be my own advocate. If feeling something is not right, if I don't really like that answer, should I go home and just take this Maalox and believe the doctor? They may be given that title doctor, but there are a lot of doctors, unfortunately, and I'm not saying all doctors, but that might be complacent or see the same thing over and over, that they're just going like, that's what that is. But because you guys came on and you shared on social media, it really helps me as well to be my own advocate, or to advocate for others that maybe are not able to do that for themselves. So thank you both so
Yeah.
much for sharing.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
I just want to say thank you for everybody that, I know Randy said it, but for the prayers and just being there. I don't know where I would be today if it wasn't for Randy being by my side. 24/7. We're always together, for my sister and my brother-in-law, Tom and Rhonda, for just being there with me, all the talks, the tears. They never they always said, you don't have it, you don't have it, you don't have it. Me and Randy I was like, I have it, I have it. And he's like, you don't know. But Ron and Tom was like, you don't. And even my son, you don't have it, Mom.
Yeah.
So,
He was very supportive and very
yeah.
positive through the whole thing.
Lean on your family, your children, and your spouse, most above everything, God. So, yeah.
I love it.
But my story came out a good story. A lot of ones don't come out
Right.
as good as mine. And my prayers are with them and that family, because it's rough. It is rough.
And we are privileged to know you and Pooch as well, Tish. I mean,
Yes.
you guys are a big part of our lives. The whole YouTube family. Yeah. Big part of our lives. We've kind of gotten away from it in the last few months, but I think.
And prayers to Terry. I don't know how she is, but I just saw that she just had her surgery on the 3rd, because she had a fibroid.
Yeah.
So,
what I understand, everything came
good.
out really good. So yeah, prayers to her
it's
too.
like that. You hear people, you're thinking, well, did I push her to go get, tested or whatever? And I just want to make sure that everybody is okay.
Yes.
They're going to be okay.
Boy, and I'm grateful for that, because it does help me even rethink my own health, and thinking of my brother and his health. And both my brothers actually in their health. And my younger brother is a huge advocate for himself, and he's going to keep going until he finds out what's wrong with him. And so, yeah, you just got to keep going, get second opinions, and your body.
Sometimes you got to be pushy, but
the silent killers, so if you go get a pap smear or whatever, it doesn't tell you that you have a tumor. The only way you can know that if you had an ultrasound. So I wish, I think Natalie is the one that was talking to you about it. I wish you have to have a pap smear every year. They should do an ultrasound every year, because just think, a year and a half, my tumor grew 23 centimeters and didn't even know it. There wasn't pain or anything. So
wow.
It's things like that you have to be aware of. And just like I had a mammogram and it turned out to be good, nothing, they didn't see anything on the mammogram, but when they started doing all my stuff, they found a little spot. So now I'm thinking, do I trust the mammogram, or do I go and get another one done? Yeah. So it's you just don't know. So
you don't, but
ask questions.
But it's great to know that, again, Julie, that you advocated and you decided, what, I think it's something different, and that helps us to know we have the power to say, I'm going to go see somebody else, or I want you to run this test. Money doesn't matter. We'll have to figure that out later or whatever. God is good. He'll take care of us. But I want this done. I want this done today.
Don't let that be what stops you. I mean, like you said, we can worry about that later. Money is not the issue. Let's just get this done, get it tested, see what we're dealing with. Then later on, we'll worry about
but
the
when
money.
you think, and I'm still mad, y'all, but when you think a doctor's pushing on your stomach and there's a size of a football tumor, that he would know that there was something wrong.
You would think.
Yeah.
Well, they're human too, so they make mistakes.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I thank you both for coming in.
Well,
Julie,
thank you for having us.
coming. Yes, absolutely. Randy, thank you so much. Thank you for your honesty, your candidness, and your transparency. And we all join together in prayer that your results, when you go December 1st, that everything is going to be fine. We just continue to
Thank
pray for
y'all.
good health for you, for sure.
Thank
Okay.
you too.
Thank you
Of
so
course.
much.
You guys have a good night. Thank you both so much. I love y'all, and go and get some
We
rest.
love you.
We'll talk
Thank
to y'all
y'all.
later.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Thank you guys all so much for joining in. Thank you for your support, your love, and your prayers. We appreciate you. And again, if you wouldn't mind just sharing this out so that someone else can hear it that needs to hear it, and maybe advocate for themselves, maybe advocate for someone who can't. And again, we thank you all for your comments, for tuning in, and for subscribing. We love y'all. You guys have a great night. See you next week.
This is your Prospera era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV Network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez.